I'm back with the second part of Chapter 8, The Wrath of Smoky-Sails Sam. So this next part is telling the backstory. It's not the most pleasant story, so if you guys don't like it, you can always fast forward or even skip to the end of the chapter. Smoky-Sails Sam is the most feared pirate in the Caribbean, he explained. He is so powerful the British Navy refuses to go anywhere near him. He has a fleet of 5 ships and hundreds of pirates. His ship burns rows of torches above their sails, leaving trails of smoke through the sky, so the whole Caribbean knows where they've been and where they're headed. They obliterate any ship they encounter, whether it's a threat or not. Alex gulped. This was exactly the kind of villain she was afraid her brother would create. He sounds charming, Alex said. How did he become so powerful? Smoky-Sails Sam used to be a slave, Connor said. He was captured by an African village by slave traders and brought to the Caribbean on a slave ship. However, on the way over, he broke the chains that bound him and led the other slaves in a mutiny. They killed the slave traders and took over the ship. Sam became the new captain, liberated the slaves, became his crew, and renamed the ship the Vengeance. Unfortunately, the power went to Sam's head. His crew wanted to go home, but Sam wanted to continue on and seek more revenge. He sailed the Vengeance to the small island of St. Helena and ordered his men to raid it. Governor Connolly sent word to the British Navy that they were under attack, but since the island was so small and valueless, the Navy abandoned them. The governor and all the men on St. Helena were killed and their families were forced to work as servants. Since there was no government or authority on St. Helena, criminals from all over the Caribbean sailed there and joined Sam. Soon he had enough men to form a fleet of pirate ships. They terrorized all the colonies nearby, growing stronger and stronger after every target they hit. The liberated slaves from the Vengeance wanted nothing to do with it, so they stole a ship from Sam's fleet and headed back to Africa. Sam was so outraged he sailed after them and sank their ship. The smoky debris from the destruction was how Sam became known as Smoky-Sails Sam, and the whole Caribbean learned of his ruthlessness. As time went on, Smoky-Sails Sam had a daughter named Sumir. Governor Connolly's only child, a girl named Christine, was forced to work as her maid. The young women became very close and loved each other like sisters. Sumir helped Christine plan an escape from St. Helena. The heart of the Caribbean was the only object of Governor Connolly's that Smoky-Sails Sam did not destroy, so Christine stole it back before she left. It didn't take long before Smoky-Sails Sam realized it was missing. To save her friend, Sumir took the blame. Rather than showing his only child any mercy, Smoky-Sails Sam made a gruesome example out of her. He cut her throat in front of his entire fleet, further proving his brutality, and no one ever stole from him again. Christine escaped from the island and sold the heart of the Caribbean to a jewel merchant and then stole it back the following day. The money she'd acquired in the sale was enough to buy her own ship and hire a crew. She named the ship the Dalai Lama and became known throughout the Caribbean as Auburn Sally, Alex said, finishing her brother's sentence. Correct, Connor said. When Jacobson became an admiral, his first assignment was to capture the sailing thief Auburn Sally. It was love at first sight, and they had been chasing each other around the Caribbean ever since. What the captain doesn't know is that Killy Billy told Smoky-Sails Sam that he saw her steal the heart of the Caribbean. Sam's been following the Dalai Lama through the sea too, and is getting closer by the minute. Since Sally's the only person who's stolen something from him and lived to see another day, he wants to make another gruesome example of her. Connor, that backstory is so dark. Why would you write something so dreadful? Alex asked. I told you it was based on a nightmare I had, he said. Besides, it's not like real pirates were any better. Connor turned to Auburn Sally and Admiral Jacobson with desperation in his eyes. Now do you believe I created you? He asked. The captain and the admiral were both astonished by Connor's familiarity with their lives. Whoever he was, wherever he came from, they could no longer deny that there was something unique and eerie about him. I believe you put pen to paper about all of this, but I am still not convinced you created this world or the people in it, Auburn Sally said. Connor had rolled his eyes so many times his sockets were getting sore. So you think I plagiarized it? He asked. Explorers are quick to claim the places they find, but they don't create the land they raise flags on, Auburn Sally said. Perhaps all writers are nothing more than subconscious explorers sailing around the sea to other worlds, and you were just the first to discover ours. Alex was intrigued by the captain's theory. She wondered if every fictional story she had ever read was more of an author's discovery than his or her idea. Perhaps imagination was a subconscious map of an uncharted world in the cosmos. It certainly would explain why her grandmother's portal potion was so effective. It didn't create the world, the text described, but simply provided a doorway into a world that had already been there. Connor was getting a headache trying to understand it himself. That sounds really deep and complex, but you're missing the point, he said. I'm trying to tell you that Smoky-Sails Sam's fleet is headed right here, right now. He's planning to kill all of you and take back the heart of the Caribbean. But if you listen to us, we can help you avoid him. How? Admiral Jacobson asked. By helping me and my sister, Connor said. I'm about to make you an offer. It's going to be hard to grasp, so we might want to sit for this. Auburn, Sally, the Admiral, and the twins took seats around the long table. Do you want me to explain this part? Alex asked. I told you I got this, Connor said, and cleared his throat. You know that subconscious sea for other worlds you were talking about? Well, for all intents and purposes, it exists. There's another world that's in big trouble, one I didn't write about. All of our friends live there, and a horrible army has invaded it. My sister and I are recruiting people from a bunch of different worlds to help us fight the army. If you come with us and help us defeat them, we'll bring you right back here. Connor grinned like he was being more than generous. The captain and the admiral exchanged a puzzled look. Something didn't add up. That's not an offer, Auburn Sally said. An offer is an exchange. Taking us away from our problems, making us fight for you, and then bringing us back to our problems isn't an exchange. It's like just more work for us. She's got a point, Alex said. Okay, Connor said, and quickly thought of something appealing to offer. Well, if you help us, I'll tell you how you defeat Smoky-Sails Sam. The captain and the admiral nodded as they considered it. Jacobson whispered something into Auburn Sally's ear like an attorney speaking with his client. So you're telling us we defeat Smoky-Sails Sam, the captain said, regardless of whether we help you or not? Duh, Connor said with a snort. That's the whole point of this story. Alex slapped her hand against her forehead. Her brother was oblivious to what Auburn Sally was implying. She appointed herself as his attorney and pulled him aside to whisper in his ear. Connor, you basically just told them that they don't need you, she whispered. You need to make them an offer they can't refuse. Oh, dang it, he said. I should never have written them to be so cunning. Thanks for the heads up. The twins turned back to the captain and the admiral. Connor let out a slow, low, and menacing chuckle. Silly, silly Sally, he said. What you don't know is that the road to victory is long and tedious. There are dozens of battles, hundreds of casualties, and thousands of miles awaiting you. It takes years to learn what I could tell you in a matter of seconds. If you help us, I'll give you the shortcut to your triumph and save you a ton of hassle. You'd be sparing your ship from a lot of damage and even saving a few lives of your crew. Auburn Sally and Admiral Jacobson whispered between themselves again. They both knew they would have to face Smoky-Sails Sam eventually. There was no way of getting around it. If Connor could supply them with information on how to do it efficiently, they would have to consider this offer seriously. They turned to the twins and presented a counteroffer. We'll help you if you help us defeat Smoky-Sails Sam first, Auburn Sally said. Connor was about to rip his hair out. He silently vowed never to write another smart character into one of his stories ever again. Deal, he said through clenched teeth. Connor and Auburn Sally shook hands over the table. Alex wasn't convinced the captain and the admiral were being truthful and pulled her brother aside one final time. How do you know they're being honest, she whispered. Because I wrote them to be just as trustworthy as they are calculating, he said, and I'll remind them about the shipwreck in the sequel. Let's discuss the details over our victory dinner, Auburn Sally said. I'm famished. Negotiating always gives me an appetite. It had been hours since their last meal, so the twins were glad to hear it. The captain rang a bell, and a few moments later, Fish Lips Lucy entered the chambers pushing a cart with several covered serving trays. The quartet was filled with delectable aroma, and the twins began salivating as their stomachs growled. Connor, what did you write for dinner? Alex asked. Tomato soup, mashed potatoes, and rosary chicken, he said as he licked his lips. A rosary chicken, she asked. Do you mean rotisserie chicken? Oh no, he said fearfully. Fish Lips Lucy uncovered the largest serving tray, and rather than a delicious roasted chicken, she revealed a live chicken wearing a Catholic rosary. The chicken panicked and fluttered amuck around the chamber, squawking loudly and shedding feathers wherever she went. Auburn Sally gave Fish Lip Lucy a dirty look. That chicken seems a little undercooked, she said. Sorry, Captain, Fish Lips Lucy said. I knew I was forgetting something. Suddenly, Siren Sue burst into the chambers, causing everyone to jump and forget all about the chicken. Her eyes were large and she let out a breath like she had come in a hurry. "Forgive my intrusion, Captain," Siren Sue huffed. "I saw smoke rising on the horizon behind the ship. I inspected it and saw a fleet of ships coming out this way. Smoky-Sails Sam is following us." The captain, the admiral, and the twins stood up so fast they knocked the silverware and plates off the table. Auburn Sally darted to the large windows in the back of her chambers and looked through the telescope beside her desk. "It's Smoky-Sails Sam, all right," the captain said, and then jerked her head toward Connor. "I thought you said we had until morning." He racked his brain, trying to figure out why they were so early. "It's because I rushed the battle," he said. "There was smoke in the sky earlier than there should have been. You and the admiral were supposed to exchange a lot more witty banter before the first cannon fired. I accidentally gave Smoky-Sails Sam a head start." Auburn Sally put on her hat and coat and immediately went into damage control mode. "Lucy and Sue, tell the women to drop the sails at once," she ordered. "I want every candle and lantern on this ship extinguished. We're going to be harder to follow in darkness. Also, free the sailors from the cells. If they want to survive the night, they'll need to join our crew." The pirates nodded and ran out of the chambers to inform the others. Auburn Sally hurried out onto the deck, and the twins and Jacobson followed. She wrapped her hands around the Dalai Lama's wheel and looked at Connor. "Well," she asked, "what do we need to do to defeat Smoky-Sails Sam?" "It's not a what, it's a where," he said. "We need to head west immediately, sail through the Parakeet Islands, and pass the Isle of Skulls." The captain didn't waste a moment asking questions. She spun the wheel so hard to her right it almost broke off. "Connor, where are you taking us?" Alex asked. "Starboardia," he said. And that ends the chapter. Our next chapter will be chapter 9, Sailing Circles Around the Bermuda Triangle. I'll see you guys then.